Good morning. It is Friday, November 1st, live in Indianapolis, Indiana! That's right. We just landed a few hours ago from beautiful Waco, Texas. Baylor Bears get the big win over West Virginia University Mountaineers. I'll tell you what. You heard real heartbreak whenever the guy got sacked or a guy got tackled in bounds to end that game there. I actually said, oh, no. Like, while it was happening. And I thought there was going to be certainly some Baylor fans that were going to come after me for being a homer. And there was earlier in the game. But I think it just kind of became a thing where it's like, yeah, I really like the Baylor Bears. They're on a win streak right now that started the first game I called a Baylor game.
Awesome.
Right? So potentially I kind of helped them kick this whole thing off in celebratory style. And national television win, I was there for it. I like that Baylor Bears team. They're very good. Also like the West Virginia Mountaineers team. I wanted to get a little bit more shout-outs to old teammates and old players. I tried my best. All I needed, though, was that Austin Kendall kid to just get loose one time. And there was about to be a Pat White just freaking, oh, geez. Oh, I just dropped one early there. Boom, 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 boom. Pat White drop. Steve Slayton, I was going to give all the boys a shout-out. All the guys that used to hang out literally in living rooms around Morgantown, having a great time, celebrating the hell out of life while dominating everybody. And I've hindsighted a lot this last week because we're calling this WVU game, and WVU's Twitter account was tweeting me a lot of things, a lot of videos from the past that looked like they were being recorded with potatoes. Only like 10 years ago, by the way. Technology...
It's come a long way.
It's the best, man. What's going to happen like 2 years from now? This everything we have in here.
Obsolete.
Just probably won't even be able to work. I mean, old iPhones, you can't even get on the internet anymore. Apple. But it was fun to reminisce, take a trip back and think about it. Just how lucky I was to be on that team that I was on. Now, granted, I feel like I contributed a little bit, but I should have taken that more serious. And I think our whole entire team would have said that. But if we would we have been as good? Nah. I mean, we were a team that whenever we played Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, they have like these bowl events leading up to the game. And everybody thought we were going to get killed by Georgia. In Georgia, the Sugar Bowl was in Atlanta because of Katrina. So they moved it out of New Orleans where it normally was into Georgia or into Atlanta playing Georgia. So we're walking down the street. We're all freshmen, by the way. Most of our team was freshmen. We had older guys that were on the team. Dan Moses, Lorello, some other guys. Jeff Noshel. Man, I should know their names. I see their face right now. A lot of lippers in that group, by the way. A lot of big-time chaw dogs in that group there. But we were freshmen, basically. And we had police escorts to wherever we wanted to go, right, in these buses. We just had a curfew at, like, midnight or 12:30, whatever it was. And if you are late, you will walk your ass all 2,000 miles back and forth. Rich Rod. So we would have these buses that had like police escorts and things like that. And we would go to these bowl events that they had. And this one was like a dinner. And we were all in kind of like this open area. And we look over and those Georgia Bulldogs kids, they were eating salads and drinking water and stuff. We had like literally just dozens of wings and pitchers of beer everywhere. And we're all a bunch of 18, 19-year-old kids, basically. Coaches, when there was just like a players thing, like we're just ended up in the same area. We're just hammering beers. And we look over, we're like, oh, those are the guys we're playing against? Oh, that's good. We probably shouldn't be here. While they're heading back to the hotel or whatever to go to sleep, it's probably like 10:30 or something like that. We're getting on our bus that has police escorts to take us to Bankhead? No, Buckhead.
Buckhead, yeah.
Buckhead. Bankhead's where T.I. and them were.
Right.
We didn't go there. Maybe. I don't know. We could have. But Buckhead we went to, which is like this strip of bars. We had a good time. All of the stars, too. It's not just like the guys that are just like, we're talking like Steve was in there with us. Like Pat was hanging out with us. I mean, it was just like we were a team that had a good time. And then we went out there and just beat the hell out of them right in front of all their fans. It was all the dog pounds, all the sad dog down there for the Georgia Bulldogs. And then we ran a fake punt with Phil Brady to win it. And that was before I was even punting, by the way. So I didn't even know how to punt at that point. And we won 38-35, I think. Oh, boy, I'm tired. And that was a deep dive, if that is the score. But it was an awesome time to kind of look back on that whole thing and just think about how now that we get a chance to meet these college teams, I get a chance to go in and interview these coaches and see their facilities and see how they operate. I don't think you could technically live how we were living back then, but there ain't one team that did it like we did it. And I don't know, like that. What's that college football show, Blue Mountain?
Blue Mountain State. Yeah.
I think potentially a writer of that show was friends with somebody who was in our crew. Like, I think there is a chance that somebody was with our team on numerous occasions. Like, you should see how this team that's ranked top 10 handles things. They are just a hardworking group. They're in the gym at like 6 a.m. every single morning, just busting their ass, puking all over the field while running sprints. Just Mike Barwis, who's one of the most ruthless, savage strength coaches of all time, going through his workouts. And then that night, like, literally like 20, 30 of us all hanging out together every night, basically. It was just like, it was an incredible time. And I think when you're in those types of moments, you don't enjoy them enough. Like, I would assume this fall that we're having right now, like in 2 years from now or whatever, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we'll look back on this fall and be like, man, what a wild ride that was. You know, when you're hopping off planes, hopping on planes within 3 hours to go to two very different parts of the country. Like, that's good. We're going to look back on it and be like, oh, we should have enjoyed that more or whatever. Like, that college football ride, I think I did enjoy it a lot, but I think I should have looked around every once in a while and been like maybe told everybody, like, hey, boys, somebody should start writing things down so we can have.
It's tough to realize in the moment.
Yeah, like, hey, boys, we should get a camera crew. We should have a documentary of this, because I feel like it was all relatively positive, too. Like, everywhere we want people like this because we're the underdog, right? So whenever you go into other places, if, like, teams didn't have a deep hatred for us because we were so new. So, like, we would go to places and people just wanted to go see Pat and Steve. Like, so we would fill up stadiums. Like, I go to these Thursday night games. There hasn't been one filled up yet, right? There hasn't been one stadium. I don't remember many college. Now, granted, we tend to only remember, like, the bigger things, I guess. That's kind of the way it goes. But I don't remember on numerous occasions in my 4 seasons of playing just walking into empty stadiums, even if it was a away game, because everybody had that NCAA game, and they played as Pat and Steve because Pat and Steve were the cheat code on that game. And I think everybody was like, it was almost like the Heatles that LeBron said when people wanted to come, they wanted to come watch. It was awesome, man. It was just like, that was a cool thing to look back on and say, you know what, I was pretty lucky to be there. I was pretty lucky to be a part of that. I'm honored to be a part of that. And they need to retire Pat White's number. Okay. And I said that right to the athletic director's face yesterday. I put him into a pretzel. It was a great conversation. You know, he's an athletic director, Shane Lyons. Very impressive man, by the way. Very impressive man. And it was a nice conversation. All these athletic directors they have to have an interesting skill set. They have to know sports, but they also have to be very good businessmen, because it's a lot now, even coming up now with the NCAA, the rule change with the image and likeness. You got to be a very sound businessman as well. And I'm assuming there's a lot that aren't. But if you want to succeed in the athletic director role, you have to be a sound businessman. You have to know sports, and you have to be able to politic. There's a lot of politicking going on to get you either on TV or get you a bigger deal with a league or a shoe company or something like that. There's a lot of politics. So we have this great conversation. He's a big man, too. I was in my cowboy boots, so I'm like 6'4". And I don't know if he had cowboy boots on, too. I didn't look, but he was looking down at me. I mean, he was a big guy. Great handshake. We're having this cool conversation. You know, I'm asking about Neil Brown. I even used it in the open. I was like, I literally just got done talking to the athletic director, Shane Lyons. He said as soon as he talked to Neil Brown, it was on site. He knew this guy is a good guy. I think so, too, by the way. I think Neil Brown's going to turn around that West Virginia program. And if you're listening nationwide or worldwide, I'm sorry. I think we gave you 4 really good shows. This one's just story time about West Virginia Mountaineers. It's Friday. Get over it. And so I said that.
This is great inside stuff. Yeah,
yes.
I didn't have that in my life.
Yeah, so he is. He's standing up there, and it's probably like 3 minutes before we go live or whatever. You know, Adam with the mustache looks incredible. Matt with the glasses. Molly is Veronica Corningstone. I mean, it was awesome. I'm happy we did that. By the way, I heard there may or may not have been a couple corpos not excited or thrilled about it, but I loved it. I mean, that was a layup, by the way, and we're not the only ones that did it. There was other people that did it. But boy, I'm really happy that Matt Hasselbeck was able to not take himself too seriously and do that. Because Hasselbeck, very professional guy, 18-year NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a lot of 18-year NFL quarterbacks do that. So I was very thankful for that. And Adam and me should think about keeping that mustache.
Oh, it looked so good.
That's what I told him.
It looked incredible.
It's like, hey, man, if you're not shaving that. Like, this is you now. Like, hey, Adam, welcome to the new you, bub. And Molly might as well have been Veronica Corningstone.
She looked really good.
She might as well have been Veronica Corningstone. But I'm talking to Shane Lyons guy right before, great athletic director, very impressive man. Right before we go live, and we have this like 10-minute conversation. And then at the end, I'm like, you have to retire number 5 for Pat White, though. And he was like, you saw his head go. And I'm like, oh, I just struck something that has been, this has been a conversation, it sounds like, And in those moments, I could see how some people might feel awkward or whatever. Boy, do I live for those moments right there. Because now I'm getting a chance to hear a conversation that has happened behind closed doors that I wouldn't have got to hear about. Because now he's going to be like, well, our criteria to retire numbers is very difficult. You have to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. And all these rules were created before he got in there, right? So I'm assuming that they've had to look at the criteria like, all right, how the hell do we get these people to stop saying it? And he's like, oh, the West Virginia criteria to retire a number is like, I guess, incredibly difficult. So he said, it's something that we're definitely going to look at, though, or stuff like that. Like, he gave me, like, that entire answer. And he, like, shook my hand and left after that. And I was like, I wonder how that guy feels how that interaction went. Because I left him on the way out, like, with, yeah, you were one of the main drivers of us having to dive into this. It's like, well, I think it's the right thing to do. There's been other great players at West Virginia. I think Major Harris, great football player. Those who got to watch him way back in the day, he was electric. He was lightning in a bottle. But Pat White literally brought West Virginia to relevance. Literally. Won 4 straight bowl games. Ain't nobody do that. 5 if you count the Senior Bowl. He was the cheat code on the NCAA game. We were selling out stadiums everywhere. We were on Thursday night primetime television before the NFL, and we had a placard in our facility that said ESPN's most watched game or something like that. Was it one of our Thursday night games that Pat White probably ran for 700 yards or something like that. He just became a part of pop culture for a lot of people. He just so happened to be playing at the same exact time as Tim Tebow, who was in the SEC, who did nothing but everything right. And the SEC obviously gets a much bigger push than the Big East at the time, even though all we did was slaughter SEC teams when we played them. I wish we would have had a chance to play Florida one time so you could see Pat versus Tim, just because they're 2 very different players, very, very different players, but 2 incredible leaders. And we would all want a war for Pat White. And it almost happened on numerous occasions. I mean, that is something that almost happened in clubs, both in Morgantown and out of Morgantown. I mean, that is something that we would do. And he was a dude you'd want to be friends with. Like that for me, that was the big thing. I was very lucky to get to hang out with him a lot. I was very lucky to get him watch. And he didn't get paid out. And I think that is why I have such this affinity for NCAA players getting paid and making money. Because I watch Pat and Steve and Owen and Darius Renaud, and you go through the entire group. Reed Williams, that redheaded son bitch. I mean, you just look at that entire crew that I was so lucky to be on a team. Noel Devine came in, did some real good stuff. Jock Sanders is another player that doesn't get talked about. I mean, right now I'm looking around the locker room and I'm just seeing everybody's face. I'm about to rattle off everybody's name, but there's 100 people on the team. But I just think that he's a guy that should get a lot more credit than he gets.
Well, and you made a good point earlier this week how, like, the way the NFL has changed. If he would be coming out today, he'd be like
first pick in the draft.
Exactly.
They'd be tanking for Pat White. He was Tua, but faster,
Yes.
taller, and I don't know if he could throw the ball better. He could throw the ball very well, though, but he was able to run. So it was like if he could kill you with his legs, he didn't have to just pick you apart with his arms. And he could kill everybody with their legs. Now, granted, we would run into a fast team every once in a while that would be able to get penetration and would stop our zone. And Pat would have to run or throw the ball, and he'd be able to. It was just like we lost some big games. My fault. But we didn't lose much. We only lost, like, I don't know. I think it was a very small number of games. And if you win 4 straight bowl games, 5 if you count the Senior Bowl, I think that is an impressive run. And I think Pat White deserves a lot more credit and respect than he gets. And if Shane Lyons is doing anything right this morning, athletic director for West Virginia, I think you're building a good thing over there. You go ahead and take that feather
quill tip,
go into those rules, those bylaws, and just add a little asterisk. And it says, unless the guy completely changed our entire university. And then even right in there, #retire5 if you would like to.
Pat White rule.
It's the Pat White asterisk that you put with the quill of the pen and just put ink right on there. Here
That's
we
what
go.
I say. Maybe the criteria should be updated a little bit because I'm sure when
Sounds
that
like
stuff
it.
was made, the business was not as big as it is now or became whenever Pat and Steve were there and changed the game.
And I would assume that if you put Pat into the retirer's number, like that ceremony, our senior night was against USF, the Bulls, and it was a blizzard. And it was a whiteout. Not because of the snow. The whiteout was happening for Pat White. Everybody in the stadium wore white because of Pat White. Now, granted, that could be construed as a bit racist. But it was because his last name. And there was, they drew 5 in the snow on the field before the game. I mean, the guy was just, he was everything. And he was as good in the locker room as he was on the field. So I think they should do that. And then, by the way, once you get that done, I got some more names that deserve it, too. The runaway beer truck should be retired just strictly because of his legendary status. Owen Schmidt was just an animal. Steve Slayton, go ahead and give him one, too. It's just that team, and it kind of got forgotten about because 2 coaching staffs, Coach Stu, rest in peace, and then Dana Holgerson started building his own legacy and wanted to build his own remembrance, and he did well with Tavon Austin, Geno Smith, and them. And after meeting Dana, it makes a lot more sense now how it was all handled. He's just a ball guy. Like, he doesn't care about anything else. He's like, I just want to coach and have a good team. So for us, I think it would be smart to retire Pat White's number. I do. And that's all I could think about all week is how I was going to sneak it into the game. And how many feathers I could ruffle, you know what I mean? I'll be excited to see.
By the way, that Sugar Bowl 2006, it was 38-35, and ESPN ranked it as the number 6 best college bowl game during the BCS era.
38-35?
Yep.
Won by how much?
3.
Huh. Never hear about that from much. First BCS win ever. That rarely gets mentioned. No, I'm joking. It was in the first half, so I guess that's why. Well, the other kicks that I get blamed were in the first quarter. So, maybe a little respect. My mom and dad have this big picture. It's called the 38th point, and it was a panoramic shot while I'm kicking.
In that game?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool photo. My mom has it. My mom not a big collector of things, but I feel like that was a pretty cool moment for her. I went bowling the next week with we had off with my brother and his friends, and I have this Sugar Bowl shirt on. Felt like the biggest douche ever, but it was the first BCS win for West Virginia in its history. It was like a massive thing. And I think it was like a 10-day bender I went on after that. But 18 years old, just running around. Different times back then, kids. You shouldn't do that. Oh, you guys are burning couches. We had a lot to celebrate, man. What do you want us to do? We get bored with just getting drunk and sitting there.
Let's burn something.
Hey, whose couch is that? Oh, I think it's the neighbor's. Well, it's the streets now. 10:18, Michael Lombardi will join us on the other side to talk about the 49ers last night. Get a big win over the Arizona Cardinals. Win by 3. Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury make that an incredible game. AQ Shipley balls out. Now, some could argue that those hard-fought games on a short week can be what helps and builds a team. Those close games, I respect teams more when they win them, no matter what the opponent is, because that's the mental thing. That's like is your team great or are they good? Or are they bad? Those close games are where you find out. Once again, when we were 2-14, there was 8 games we could have won. 8 of them. That's 10-6. That's with Curtis Painter, Kerry Collins, and Orlovsky at quarterback. So those close games, no matter what your opponent is, no matter if it's a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback, you can learn a lot about a team in those close games. Now, the 49ers will be playing their toughest part of the schedule coming up, and we're going to learn a lot. I like that team a lot, though. I like them a lot. Jimmy G, everybody's saying he shot his shot with EA. I don't think so. I don't think he... What if he's just like that all the time? He's a paisan, very attractive, probably pretty smooth dude. Hey, baby. You know? What if that's just the way he talks? George Kittle was an absolute stud. That defense is so good. They're fun to watch.
Emmanuel Sanders went off last night.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Emmanuel Sanders. I'm free at last. Kyle Shanahan drawing up plays. They're a good team, fun team, but we're going to learn a lot about them. Ladies and gentlemen, time to make money here. A recent Gallup survey shows Americans worry more about burglary than almost any other crime. More than mugging, more than terrorism, more than car theft, and even murder.
Oh.
According to studies, just over 10% of break-ins are planned beforehand. The rest are spur-of-the-moment crimes of opportunity. In other words, are random. Did you know most break-ins happen between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. in the middle of the day, broad daylight? Not in the winter right now. It's about to be dark for basically until like 10 a.m. To about 2:30 p.m. on.
Yeah.
It's about to be pitch black here in Indiana. Welcome to no sun season.
It's us. It's just gray.
You know,
gray and black. That's all we
It
got.
takes a lot of mental grit
Yeah,
to
it
get
does.
through this. We grew up in Pittsburgh, which I think for a while statistically had more rainy days than Seattle.
Correct.
And nobody talks about it because we're in the mountains or in the hills. It's a steel town. They got enough to deal with. It was like the dirtiest city for a long time because of the soot and stuff that would come out of the steel mills. Those guys are breathing in steel mill. They don't care about the rain. So you got to be really mentally tough to keep a good attitude. Because I can even feel it whenever the sun stuff's coming, where I get I'm like, man,
Seasonal
Nap
depression.
time.
it's real. We ran out of Jay's song. Did you know that most break-ins happen between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m.? Did you know that?
Dude,
It's
no.
true.
According to the FBI, the average loss in burglary is over $2,000. That can be hard to recover from. There are over 2 million burglaries reported every year. That's one every 13 seconds. And what's crazy is that only 1 in 5 homes have home security, maybe because companies don't make it easy. They're too expensive, too intrusive, too much this, too much that. It's hassling and hassling and hassling some more. But Simply Safe transformed the home security business by breaking down these barriers to get you the best, most reliable, and comprehensive protection available. Simply Safe protects every door, window, and room with 24/7 professional monitoring. Their police dispatch is up to 3.5 times faster because they use video verification. No contract, hidden fees, or fine print, designed to blend right into your home. Around-the-clock monitoring is just $15 a month. Visit simplysafe.com/Pat. You'll get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. You've got nothing to lose. That's simplysafe.com/Pat. SIMPLISAFE.com/PAT. Have cameras all around your house. Open your phone, tap an app, bang! You got eyes and ears inside the place. If you're not there, Simply Safe will track any movement that happens and start recording immediately so you'll be able to see it. Whether that's pets, bums, meth heads, neighbors, whatever it is. Simply Safe protects you from everything. We have them in this office. We have them in every one of our homes. It's a beautiful thing. For $15 a month, sleep soundly this evening. Simplysafe.com/Pat. Michael Lombardi on the other side to break down the NFL. And if the 49ers are the real deal, or if they're about to get exposed in the next couple weeks. I didn't say it.
No.
I did not say that.
Nope.
No.
I'm just saying, people are asking that question.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask it to Michael Lombardi. Good football brain. 10:23, you're listening to Deep Pat McAfee Show. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show, 1027 here on November 1st, 2019. Joining us now is a man who is well-versed with the NFL world. He's been on the business side of it. He's been on the player side of it. He's been on the gambling side of it now. Hosts a show on
VSiN
with Diggs doesn't know his name. Big fan of his co-host, whoever it is. We appreciate this guy every single time he comes on. He gives us locks. Hey, he said the Eagles were going to do what the Eagles did this past weekend. Last week, I laughed in his face, but we made money together because I placed my bets with him. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi.
Thank you, Pat. I don't know how you do it. I mean, I just saw you last night in Waco, Texas. That is not the easiest place to get out of.
Waco, by the way, beautiful place, good people, in the middle of nowhere out there.
Well, it's between nowhere, yeah, and there's no doubt. My son coached there for 2 years. I'm a huge Matt Rule fan. I don't think they played there. I was flipping back and forth watching your game and the NFL game. I don't think they played their best game, but give West Virginia credit. They battled them. They were physical up front. They kicked Baylor's butt up front in the Baylor's offensive line. There's no doubt.
Hey, it was an ugly game. Not good football, ugly game, but to get that win is big, especially in a conference where anything can happen on any given week, you know?
How can you call all those punts ugly? You're a punter. You had to love that.
Hey, that flop by that kid was tough to watch. I mean, in our ear, the producer was like, got a replay on that punt, and he is not hurt. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, we'll save it for the air. And I was like, no, let's watch it now. They're like, no.
Have you ever seen a game where the quarterback and the center have two of those volley snaps like they did last night? It's unbelievable, right?
So the one time the guy was in Wildcat, so it wasn't the quarterback, but no matter who it was, if that was Akeem Olajuwon, he wasn't getting that snap. That thing was launched over his head. And then the other one, I don't think the quarterback had any idea it was coming, so I don't know who that was on. But young team, they'll get scrappy, they'll get back. I like Matt Rule and that Baylor Bears team. Okay, do you like the Niners after what you saw last night, now that they're about to play their hardest part of the schedule? Did you like the close win on the road, no matter who it's against on a short week? That's a big deal.
Yeah, I do. I think Jimmy G, I thought he was sensational. He maybe even better when he called Aaron Andrews baby after the game. I mean, he was sensational as the quarterback. I mean, that's the Jimmy G that I know. When I was the general manager in Cleveland, before I got fired, I did a lot of work on Jimmy G. Would have drafted him had I not gotten fired. Went to New England. We drafted him there. He's not the best practice player, but when he's focused and honed in, he's really good. And Kyle's the perfect coach for him because they don't put everything on his shoulders. But he made some throws last night were just flat out incredible. He hit Emmanuel Sanders on the 3rd and 6th. And he did what most quarterbacks don't do is, I call them 7-on-7 quarterbacks. They have to throw when the receiver's open. They can't really anticipate it. Mason Rudolph is an example of this at the Steelers. And Jimmy G can snap it off before the receiver's even out of the break. It was really good.
Don't laugh. I'm a Duck guy.
Hey, I'll tell you what. A lot of the Steelers fan base is split between Ducky Hodges and Mason Rudolph.
I think the Duckster's the better player. I really do. I'm not saying that because of his name. I think the Duckster's a better player. I think Duckster has a better feel for it. Mm-hmm. I think when your mama lifts you from the crib, you either have a feel for it or you don't, right? You can't teach feel a quarterback. Josh Rosen really doesn't have a feel for it. All these people making excuses for him, they're just pretending, right? When your mama lifts you from the crib, you have an instinct that you can throw the guy open, and Mason has to see it. And in the NFL, you can't see it to win. You got to throw it before they come out of the break.
Yeah, I think it's anticipation.
And I don't think I think the Duckster can do that. Okay. I think he can do that.
By the way, I'm on your side there. I agree. He's a world champion duck caller.
I mean, who wouldn't love that, right?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's get back to Jimmy G real quick. Do you think, because a lot of plays, they run them in practice, and you hear people say if a play doesn't work, they go, throw it out. You literally hear people say, throw it out. If your quarterback isn't a practice player and he doesn't do his best, do you think Kyle Shanahan is just kind of getting the hang of this? Like, okay, this guy in practice potentially stinks, but let's assume that his skill set will allow him to do this in the game. Is that something that Kyle Shanahan's really
I think they're learning that. I do, Pat. I think that you got to know Jimmy. I mean, there's Jimmy's first preseason in New England. He was bad in practice. It was like, oh my God. And then once he had a game plan, once he knew specifically what the plan was, he practiced better. And then scout team, he was unbelievable. I mean, we knew he was good from the scout team. So, yeah, I think they've tailored it down to where they're throwing things that Jimmy can really throw. Look, the one thing he has, he's tough as nails now. He stood in there last night, guys breathing down his neck. He made some great throws under pressure.
That's awesome. All right, looking ahead to the weekend, I thought this Colts-Steelers game was the biggest layup I've seen in Vegas in a long time. Tell me why the Colts are only a 1-point favorite, but started out as a 1.5-point dog.
I can't. I'm with you on this one. This is my play of the week. I love the Colts here. I love the Colts.
That makes me feel very good with your record on the show, by the way. It makes me feel very good.
I mean, I think the Colts will run. I think the Steelers. That Miami was moving the ball. Miami was moving the ball on the Steelers, and this, that call at the end of the first half by the Dolphins cost them the game. Oh. The zero blitz call. Why? Why would you do that? That really was a bad call, and that lost them the game because then Rudolph got a little bit of confidence. I think Indianapolis coming off the week they had. I think they'll be ready to play. I think they'll run the football, and I think Jacoby Brissett will throw it down the field. I don't think they have anybody that can cover T.Y. Hilton on the Steelers. I really don't. I think the Steelers secondary is a liability. I think even Joe Hayden. I mean, you saw it the other night. Hayden had a hard time covering.
I love that you said that. I've been saying this all week. There's been a lot of Steelers fans, I think, that have no idea about what's coming into town. I think Steelers fans, if you judge by Twitter, not a lot of them, and for good reason, probably they don't pay attention, have any idea what's going on with the Colts. They just look at that box score against the Broncos, and they're like, oh, they barely beat the Broncos, this Colts team. What they didn't see is the weeks before that where they were unstoppable almost, and they had a bad game and still got a win against a team that has only has lost by 2 or less points 3 times this year. So the record is not very indicative of the team that they are. Granted, they're still bad. Let's not talk about it. But the Colts being able to itch out that win. And for me, the biggest thing here, Mr. Lombardi, Quentin Nelson in that offensive line had a bad game last week. So I don't know Quentin Nelson that well. I tried to talk to him. We got like 3 sentences out of him. It was tough, right? He's a tough guy. He's an incredible teammate. He's been sitting on that all week, right? And I like to gamble thinking about the humans that we're betting on, not just the scores and the stats and things like that. That offensive line did not have their best game last week. So to have to sit on that and sit in a room with Quentin Nelson, who is this demanding individual. I mean, you can tell by the way he plays, he's demanding and what he's brought out of other people. I think they might rush for 7,000 yards if they wanted to this week with that offensive line coming off a bad game.
I think any coach's greatest week is when he wins and his team plays crappy because then he can get on it.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think that Frank Reich really can say to the team, look, we got to raise the bar. That wasn't really good enough. We're not good enough doing that. We got to raise the bar. And, I mean, they're really good. Here's the thing. They're really good on third down. They're 14-26 the last 2 weeks on third down. They control the football. And with Rudolph, he needs a lot of reps. He's going to need 32 minutes with this ball to score points. He's not going to be able to drive it down the field. I think the speed of the Colts defense will give the Steelers, who offensive line wasn't playing very well either. I'm not in love with the Steelers at all as a football team. I'm shocked they traded a first-round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Even though he's played well, that first-round pick could be a top 10 pick.
All right, let's move forward. What are some other games that you're looking at so we can all get rich off of your incredible brain?
I really like Jacksonville this week over in London. I think if you look at Gardner Minshew compared to Baker Mayfield, less commercials, obviously, but his numbers are incredible this year. 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, averages over 7.5. I love Deshaun Watson. Love him as much as any player in the league. But the Texans are beat up. The Texans have lost a lot of players. They're going to go over to London without a real corner. They've lost 3 corners. They're going to have a hard time covering. I think Jacksonville's playing pretty well right now. The last time they played, it was a 13-12 game, week 2 of the season. They did a good job on Deshaun Watson, held him to under 200 yards passing. I like Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville will play well. I think Jacksonville's a really good football team. Not great. I think they're good. And I think the Texans are just beat up right now.
Doug Marrone came out and said that those London games are tough for people, and they were. As a team that went over there, I mean, I don't think you really know what to expect. There's a lot of distraction. Your routine's messed up. It's a different time of day. I mean, all these things that sound so minute are a real thing whenever they start stacking on top of each other, and that makes that London game a lot more difficult than people think. And the Jaguars have a lot of experience from the front office to the coaching staff on how to handle things. I think that's a real advantage as well without people really acknowledging it.
And they always play well over there. They always seem to play well over there. They have it down, and I think the way Minshew's playing, I mean, look, I'm all on board on Minshew. I would have traded Nick Foles at the trade deadline.
Wow.
I think they got to go all in on Nick. I think they got to go all in on Minshew. Like I said, I think he's better than the great Mr. Commercial Baker Mayfield. I think he's better than him. He does more. Mayfield struggles to see and doesn't have a great feel for pocket awareness, whereas Gardner is a little bit taller and does.
Nick Foles will have one of the most hilarious NFL careers in the history.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, it's unbelievable. Cut twice, signed off the stack heap, comes back, plays bad against the Raiders. Everybody's booing him in Philly, and then plays bad in the first game against Atlanta, has this incredible game in the playoffs, and then has the Super Bowl, and it's legendary. It really is.
Yeah, and then he gets broken off again in Jacksonville, gets hurt while throwing a touchdown, doing well, then gets cut for Gardner Minshew. I mean, this is going to be – he even went out into the woods and he was thinking about retiring, went out into the woods, did whatever you do in the woods, whether it's pray, smoke, mushrooms, whatever he did. I think it's probably pray, I guess. I would have done a little differently, I guess, to find myself. But he went out in the woods and said, I'm coming back, and then all this has happened. I mean, his story is going to be a good one. I can't wait to read his book. Speaking of book, let's bankrupt FanDuel Sportsbook. What else are we hammering, Mr. Lombardi?
Well, this game, I think when you break down this Packer-Charger game, well, first of all, let me talk about the Cowboys. I really think the Cowboys will kill the Giants.
Hold on. Why didn't Dak get signed?
Why haven't they signed Dak? Because I think Dak wants $40 million a year, and I think Jerry wants to pay $25 million a year. And I think there's a big gap, and I think Jerry has his rights for that. For a couple more seasons. So here's what I think: when you break down the Giants, they have no ability to cover, and you say, well, the Cowboys lost to the Jets, right? Well, the Cowboys didn't have Cam Fleming, they didn't have Collins, and they didn't have Smith, their two tackles. They went in that game with backups at tackle. They're healthy now. I think Michael Bennett's going to be a huge addition for their team. I think he'll play really well. I think their defense will play better, and I think Danny Dimes, when he has to play faster, becomes a little bit less of a quarterback. You say, well, they have Barkley. Well, I think Barkley – people are going to start attacking Barkley in pass protection. He did a horrible job last week against the Lions and almost got Danny Dimes killed. And when a back can't protect, people misconstrue running backs. Running backs are not run, catch, block, right? You don't grade running backs run, block, catch, block. You grade them block, catch, run, right? You
I think y'all are doing it
catch,
wrong.
Run. They can't pass protect.
No, I think you're doing it wrong. I think run should be ahead of catch.
No, you got to be out of the backfield. That's why in this game today, if you can catch the ball in the backfield, if you can only run with the ball, they'll defend you to the day. When you're on the field, they'll defend you like crazy. Oh, he's in the game. It's run, run, run. Why do you think Alfred Morris can't keep a job? He's a really good running back. He's a really good back. He can't keep a job because he can't catch and he can't block. You got to be able to block first. You got to be able to catch second, and then you got to be able to run.
You've sawed down no less than 7 people. I want to let you have sawed them down. Just sawed them down. Just incredible analysis. I'm just saying there's some people that are listening that's like, oh, Alfred Morris is listening. It's like, man, whoa. What did I do to get that? How about Jerome Bettis? You think Jerome Bettis has a career in the modern football world?
Jerome Bettis could catch the ball on the backfield. Jerome Bettis wasn't just a runner. Now, he wasn't an extended player, and Jerome Bettis played in an era where we were more two-back. He was in a lot of two-back sets. Remember, when he was at the Rams, they traded him for, I think, a third-round pick because they weren't sure he was going to fit the modern game. And Pittsburgh took him, put him in the deep set, and really made the most of him.
This is how you know if you're from Pittsburgh. Ready? The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. Jerome Bettis was literally drummed into our brains that guy was the savior of the Pittsburgh Steelers football. Him and Palamalu. Palamalu. I mean, it's just the way it goes whenever they were there. That was an awesome team to watch. Sorry, I got off track there. Okay, so
That's okay. That's okay. You remember when he fumbled against you were at the Colts when he fumbled going in for the score, were you?
No, but if any other dude picks that ball up, any other guy picks that ball up who just potentially didn't get stabbed the night before, I mean, that was a very different outcome to that play. And
and a different outcome to the Steelers.
Yeah, and then they get the big Super Bowl win there. I mean, that was just
I mean, that play was that was an unbelievable play.
I mean, because he had those rubber sleeves on his arm, and those things get wet. I mean, the ball
still don't forgive him. Even though it worked out, I still don't forgive him for it.
Hey, that guy had a good time in Pittsburgh too. I've heard a lot of great stories about him. Anyways, moving.
And then I like the Packers. Even though everybody's on the Packers, I think 87% of the money's coming in on the Packers. I think this is a home game for the Packers. I think this will be. I think there'll be 35,000 people there. I think 33,000 of them will be Packer fans. I really do.
Hey, that Packers team looks
I
damn
think it's
good.
going to be. I think it's going to be hard for Phillip Rivers. I think it'll be a track meet. I think it'll be the game will go. Both teams will score, but I think the Packers at the end of the day will cover the 3 points. I think that they're the better team than the Chargers. The Chargers defensively are beat up, and their offensive line still isn't very good. And I think the Smith brothers of Green Bay will put pressure on Phillip.
All right, I'm not with you with Dallas because we have no idea what's going to happen. I think that $40 million a year is going to be something that distracts him more than people think. I mean, getting your first big paycheck whenever you think it's going to come and it doesn't come can be distracting. But also, I guess he's got that Greek yogurt money too, so I guess he's looking pretty good.
That helps.
Yeah, that definitely helps.
Isn't it Dannon?
Who?
It's Dannon yogurt, right?
I don't know. I just remember him like sitting in there. And then the one where they ring the bell.
Salvation Army.
That's one of the worst commercials in history. I mean, when that comes on, it's almost like forget it, can't say it. Literally can't say it. But I like Dak Prescott on and off the field. I think he plays very well. But I think this could be distracting that the deal has not got done yet. Will he play how he played the week before the bye, or will he play the first week, or will it be the other games? I'm excited to see. I'm not going to hammer it because his hammer is vital, but I will hammer the Packers and the Colts this weekend for sure alongside of you.
Thank you,
I'm excited to get rich and watch these games with you, brother.
Thank you. I'm excited to see you on game day this week.
What should I wear? What should I wear? This has been a real topic of discussion because I'm not the celebrity guest picker, so it's not like I can just do whatever I want.
Well, I mean, you're in Memphis, right? I mean, it's got to be themed to Memphis. I mean, you got to be a little. I don't want to say you want to go all Elvis, but you got to have shades on. You got to have blue suede shoes.
Yeah, but if I have shades on, you got to remember, a lot of people think I'll just be high and that's why I have shades on.
That's all right. They can think whatever they want. You know, I mean, Belichick, you think it matters when he picks his wardrobe out? I mean, seriously.
Everybody else
a pair
up there.
of scissors in that man's hand is dangerous. But I would go more towards the Southern, the theme. I would do that. I think so. I think you a little Elvis in there. You're on Beale Street, or you could pull out your great Mark Cohen, who wrote the great song "Walking in Memphis." Have you ever heard "Walking in Memphis"?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could do Mark Cohen. You could do like you have a kind of a entertainer kind of flair. Play the piano. That could be a thing.
It would have been great if I could have tickled the ivory too. I wish I could know how to play the piano. That would have been.
Me
great.
too. I wish I could do it. I just marvel at people that do that. But that would be something. You don't want to come in with a pencil and be like Corso. You got to come up with your own thing, right?
Well, I'm not going to be. I don't know if I'm going to be up there next to Corso at any point. We have not discussed a single thing that I'm going to do there. They're like, let's just make sure we get you here, and then when you get here, let's just figure it out. And then I was like, sounds good. I was like, should I tell my mom to watch the whole show or like parts of the show? I was like trying to get a heads up, and they're like, we'll figure it out, Pat. We have no idea. Let's just we want your input as well. I'm like, wait, I'm getting input on College Game Day?
Nice.
I got ideas. And they're like, let's hear them. I'm like, well, I
We
don't
need
have
to-
them
we
yet.
need to spruce that show up, and then why are they in all coats and ties there? Everybody else is half drunk. I don't understand it.
Hey,
loosen up a little bit,
College Game Day has been a staple in Americana for a long time. I mean, people just wake up and you turn on Game Day. It's just what happens. And their suit games were strong. I mean, there were some incredible suits there. The sleeveless hoodie, I couldn't even fathom anybody else would wear that on there. But it was an electric environment. I'm pumped to get back in there, man. Hey, and also, I'm pumped to see how you do this weekend and chat with you next week, man.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you're really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I enjoy these conversations. I don't know why you got fired from Cleveland or whatever. Seems like you got a pretty good brain, but I think everybody gets fired from Cleveland.
And we all do, Belichick. I got fired twice from Cleveland. I traded you Trent Richardson for a first-round pick. Do you know that?
All right, go to hell. 10:46. Why would you do that to us? You knew.
Okay.
You knew.
I got fired. Oh, I knew. Yeah, I knew better than I knew. And Ryan Grigson had no idea.
How do you sell that to him?
And he got
In
an
practice,
extension.
Huh?
And he got an extension, and I got fired. That's the NFL to a T right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
10:47, November 1. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Friday, November 1st, 10:52 here, wrapping up hour one. Every time I talk to Lombardi, I enjoy him, man.
He's incredible.
So good.
Hilarious insight there. I didn't know he was a general manager for a team. Probably should have known that. That's a pretty powerful little piece. Also, I mean, he changed the course of our entire season. I mean, he changed. Do you remember whenever we traded for Trent Richardson, Irsay was tweeting like, something massive's coming tonight. Something massive. I was like, what is it? Like, are we getting a new facility? Bang, first rounder for Trent Richardson. I was like, oh, yeah, that's what we needed. I mean, Andrew Luck is getting sacked like 45 times a game. Let's give him a running back. Why don't we trade for like I don't know, offensive lineman? Him saying, oh, I knew what was going to happen. I mean, what a move. By the way, I don't play fantasy football, so I don't get to do this, but I would assume if you have like a good inside scoop and you're trying to trade a player away for another player and you get over on that person, you have to feel good. Imagine in real life.
It's a dream job.
Listen, I mean, if you're only going to give me one first rounder, I think two for this type of talent. Like the way you have to talk, like he's a car salesman whenever he's talking to Grigson, right? Mm-hmm. So he's got to be like, only one first rounder? I was at least thinking a first rounder.
I don't know, Ryan. I don't know.
I don't know.
We're talking Trent Richardson here.
You're playing cards there at that point, right? And he probably like did the hang up on him, like, call me back when you have a real offer. You know, like
Seattle's on the line right now.
You know what, Ryan? I like you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and give you this deal.
Just for a first rounder. I mean, I would like to let you know that other teams have offered us multiple picks, a second, a third, and a fourth. But for just the first rounder, I was thinking we'd get something else. But good job by you, my friend. I guess you're going to be a wizard at this. Trent Richardson not pan out with us.
Or anyone else.
You know what? I think he was a good guy, too. Like, I didn't get to talk to him much. He was kind of like an aloof. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of didn't talk to many people, and then kind of opened up towards the end of the year, and then he was gone. You know, so it was like I think he was a really good guy who was in an interesting situation. I don't know if the story's been told about his life off the field, but it's very interesting. He took care of basically like an entire community whenever he got paid. So, I mean, I think he had a lot of hectic things happening off of the field as well. I assume he was a good guy, but boy, he zagged a lot when a zig would have done the job. And I think with modern technology, was exposing him a lot too. It became like a thing. Like every bad decision he made, I assume a lot of running backs do, but every bad decision he made got magnified a lot by the internet. Maybe he'll come back. I have no idea. We'll come back on the other side of the break. We got Ed Reed joining us in the second hour.
Nice.
Ed Reed, boy, the best safety you ever seen, boy. From the U. Can't wait to chat with him. It's 10:55 in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. I don't know why you're doing it, but you're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. We'll be back on the other side. Last Saturday, I had a chance to travel to Brookings, South Dakota, and be the celebrity guest picker on College Game Day because my friend Adam Vinatieri couldn't make the trip because he had a game to literally win the next day with his right foot in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm happy and proud to say that I found out today that the South Dakota State people are very thankful for what happened. And they honored me in an incredible fashion in a video that they tweeted to me earlier today.
Oh, hey, Pat. Justin Sell here, athletic director at South Dakota State University.
What's up, man?
I'm just getting jacked with my specialists here in our football program. And we wanted to just give a quick shout out and a big thank you to you and Vinny for making an unbelievable week even better. The performance that you had on game day was the greatest of all time. It was the 72-yard punt that goes out at the 1, the perfect hold in splitting the uprights on a field goal. We couldn't be more proud to have you associated with our program.
Let's go.
I'd like to turn it over to Dan Jackson, who's going to do a special honor to make sure you know how much we care and that you are a jackrabbit.
The Brady Sorensen snap is good. It's a fake. Hale
Love
throws
it.
it to Vinatieri. There's nobody in front of him. He's done it
Athlete.
again. Touchdown, Jackrabbits.
Pat is our special teams coordinator. We take pride in being the best in the country on all of our units. We understand the importance and the impact that it has on a football program, and we want to officially welcome you to our football family, joining one of our greats in Vinny with this jersey right here. Welcome, Pat, and we're excited to have you as part of our football family permanently and for all time.
Thanks, man.
We have a tradition of excellence on our special teams units that's helped us throughout the years establish a ton of success. With me here today are kicker Cole Fromm, long snapper Brady Sorensen, kicker Chase Vinatieri, and punter holder Ben Dinkle.
Oh, boy, Ben.
On behalf of the specialist gang here, we just want to thank you again for everything you did for the football team and the community of Brookings this past weekend at College Game Day.
Oh, yes, let's go.
One last big thank you. You helped us build the brand of South Dakota State University, and we want you to know all 800,000 of us in the state of South Dakota are for the brand. Go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Hey, I appreciate the hell out of you guys, man. I wonder how many takes that took with the athletic director, you know, because they're all getting a pump in there. All right, boys, one more time from the top. Chase Vinatieri, my dad said this while watching this video earlier today. Chase Vinatieri is going to take Adam Vinatieri's spot whenever Vinatieri leaves. It's going to be Vinatieri's Italians kicking balls for the Colts for 45 years. He's really good. He's very, very good at kicking balls, as are the other guys. Very thankful for that. I appreciate that so much. Can't wait to get back to Brookings. You're the best. Cheers.
It's the perfect occasion for mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication. 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is Chase Rice. I appreciate you. Chase Rice is currently on tour. If he's in your town, go check him out. Joining me now is at DJ Nick Marodo.
Thanks for that. I enjoy it.
I think you've had a good mix of music today. I think you've done pretty well.
We're working on it.
You know, every once in a while we'll get too ravey. Every once in a while we'll get to this, we'll get to that. It's nice to have a nice mix because we have an eclectic group of humans listening and watching our show. I just learned that there's an 85-year-old that watches every day.
Really?
Yeah, somebody taught him how to do the YouTube at the Senior Citizen Center, and all he does is watch our show on the iPad on the YouTube. 85-year-old man.
Love that guy.
I would like to know if that guy is slinging it in that Senior Citizen Center. I heard that's all that happens in there.
He just lowered the volume on his iPad right now.
Don't be giving away my secrets. At Tone Diggs is here. Congrats on engagement.
Thank you.
You're about a week into that, right?
Yes.
How's the first week of engagement, man?
Good. Wedding planning is horrendous.
Oh, it's the worst. It starts literally as soon as it happens. Because you get engaged, you're like, okay, here we go. I just made a big decision for our relationship. I'm moving forward. Everybody should get off my ass. No. Instead, it's a whole new ass that's getting on.
We're looking at the numbers and we're like, do we really want to ruin the rest of our lives for one day?
It's a real decision.
Yeah.
By the way, all anybody gives a single damn about is that reception. You might as well just throw a party like you did for the Halloween.
Probably what's going to happen.
Now, granted, I am making none of the decisions. Mostly because I have basically opted out of them, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of pressure has been put on Sam to do this whole thing, but for me, I don't get it. I don't get the whole thing, but it's their dream, right? It's the ladies' dream.
The good thing is we're on the same page, so it's not like we're arguing about it.
Well, I think there's going to come some decisions.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just as somebody who has had to venture down this road, every once in a while something will get brought up, and I'll go, what? Why are we even? Well, this decision has to be made. I'm like, does it matter? And then it's like, oh, you don't care. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do now at this point. I'm just here for the reception, man. Yeah, I do. I love you. Let's spend forever together. Yep. But let's talk about what everybody's going to remember. Okay, everybody's going to remember the open mic at the reception when some drunk Todd got up there and gave an incredible speech and everybody started dying laughing. Everybody's going to remember when drunk Zito falls off of something into something. And everybody's going to remember that we're still married.
There's three things that we care about. It's the DJ, the alcohol selection, and then the late night snack, like the
Portillo's.
Yeah, like something like that.
Yeah, the late night snack's going to be a big deal.
That's all we.
By the way, Sam and I have agreed that the food is going to basically be a late night snack for the wedding.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it was Sam's idea, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Because you go to these weddings and they either serve you too little of something.
Lamb chops.
How many weddings you been to have lamb chops?
2.
What is that? That's on the card? You're like, all right, you want chicken or you want lamb chops?
I always opt out for vegetarian pasta because you get more.
Hey. Nobody else orders it.
Got a carbo load.
All right, let's
I'll
read.
take 2 more, please.
Hey, let's read the rumors. Is this gonna be a big vegetarian crowd? No. All right, give me the vegetarian pasta because they're gonna have too much of it. I'll take all of it. They don't feed you enough in there. And you're
I
drinking
didn't want
a lot.
salmon. I said it 4 times.
I'll tell you what, it's tough when you get the wrong order too on your plate. That's tough, but there's a lot that goes into this, I guess. I mean,
you can't talk to the manager either.
No, because you are the man. Yeah, it's an entire problem. Oh, you're trying. Oh, you got the wrong food, so you're going to ruin their day. It's like, all right, enough of their day. I would just like to eat something that's halfway worth a damn here because I've been drinking for 7 hours. It'd be nice to have a little bit of food here. Weddings are interesting, man. Till death. At Ty Schmidt almost had death last night on a plane. It's kind of a scary situation.
Yeah, a little bit. Looked into it. I think it's called baroparesis. Has something to do with the air pressure, but essentially I lost feeling and control in the right side of my face.
Wild.
So
it was scary.
It was.
He did it on the way to Waco, and he mentioned it. And I had gotten – so I was born with something in my face where a muscle couldn't work near my lip, right? So I don't know if as a child, like my dad had me work out my lip or something happened. But every once in a while, I'll get like these interesting feeling on the side of my face where I won't be able to control my lip. And for me, I view it as like a cramp or like something like that, but in my face, which is a very interesting thing. That'll happen to me. So Ty was explaining what was happening to Nick, and I was like, oh, I probably just got a cramp in his face or something like that. This is something that happened. And Nick looks at me and laughs. He's like, a cramp in his face? You think? Like he thought he had a stroke, Pat. Yeah, I'm like, well, it happens to me where my thing happens. I guess it's not normal. So then last night on the plane, it was happening to Ty, and I was literally watching it happen to him. And it was very interesting to watch the one half of his face just get like very relaxed. And it was like, oh my God, it's happening again. Is Ty going to die right now? I was very freaked out. Then he came out on the other side of it. It's the air pressure in a plane.
That's what just like a basic Google search. But then it also said, it could have to do with like blood clots or, because we travel so much, diet's not great. The sleep schedule is obviously not great. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I'm hoping it's just that.
Can't have you die, by the way.
Yeah, I don't want to die either. So.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to live forever. No, I lost it.
Well, Logic has that song where he actually says, I don't want to die today. So that would have been a good one you could have went with right there.
I haven't heard it yet.
That's been out for like 3 years. I'm sure you heard it. It's the name of it is Suicide Hotline or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah, good song.
Performed at like the Golden Knights game.
Yeah, interesting choice. All those leagues make interesting choices with their decisions of who does what. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
How about ESPN getting rid of the Genesis halftime show?
Heartbreaker.
What?
Absolute heartbreaker. It became a thing.
Yeah.
Because it was so bad, it became a thing. And it's almost like at this point, I guess we have to, in a company, from what I've been told, not that I've experienced, but in a company that it does take a little bit to kind of clear some things and to make decisions because you got so much oversight. You got a lot of people working there. This is one of the most important companies in all of the world and all of sport. So to make decisions has to go through a lot of layers. So that had to land on a few desks. That had to land on a lot of different desks too. That like people from a lot of different backgrounds had to be like, this thing stinks. How do we expedite this Genesis halftime show? How do we tell the people that sell souped up Hyundais that are very nice? Genesis cars are very nice, by the way, and cheap for how nice they are. I went and checked one out. I was very confused. I was very confused on why it was as the cost it was for how nice it was. I was like, this doesn't make sense. But with any new car, I don't like diving into the new line of car business because to get something fixed, you don't know what's going to happen, right? So I'm impressed by the car. I have no idea if it has problems or not, but I was very confused on the like this is almost an ad for them, I guess, but how nice it was compared to the price. And they've been dumping a lot of money into that Monday Night Football game, right? For the last couple of years. Their commercials, by the way, clean. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're clean commercials. But this Genesis halftime show has been a whiff, and it's gotten such a bad whiff that it's almost like the Washington D.C. Generals or whatever they are against the Globetrotters. It's almost to that point. Like it's a miss every single week. It's almost something that everybody looks forward to. I mean, we met an artist in New York in the elevator that wouldn't say two words to us. We thought he was the Genesis halftime show. We were so happy that we met the Genesis halftime show because it became one of those things. I respect the fact that ESPN was like, man, people can't be making a mockery out of this thing, which it became. And was the beginning of the end there when Brantley Gilbert played on the sideline?
Yep.
That was the beginning of the end?
I think that's what killed it.
You think that was the problem?
I really do. That band he had, the generic, corny rock, what was that?
What if that was his band? Why are you just burying?
That was his band.
It's a great band.
Why are you going after his band right now?
Did you not see them?
Oh, so good.
No, I saw the brass knuckles on the microphone.
Oh, God.
Which he wasn't even using.
What are you mad about? We're mad about this?
Yeah, don't need that. Just hold the microphone.
You don't know what it's like at a concert for him.
Also,
you don't know if somebody's coming on stage and he's going to pop out the brass knuckles.
It was at Lambeau, too. Keep that crap off the field, all right?
It was like they grabbed the guy from Nickelback, Green Day, Mumford & Sons, put them all together and like, let's rock.
Are you burying Brantley Gilbert right now?
If they really did that, that band would bang.
Let's rock, but mild.
Real quick, Brantley Gilbert does bang. I don't think you guys you're burying the wrong guy right now. I want to let you know this is not going to be good for you guys on the internet. Brantley Gilbert's fan base. You think Brantley Gilbert's the only guy who has brass knuckles that listens to Brantley Gilbert? No. Good luck stopping at a gas station for the rest of your lives.
Hey, in a fight, brass knuckles, awesome. When you're performing at Lambeau, don't need them around your microphone.
You don't know?
How cool would it have been if someone hopped the wall?
He grabs that mic and just shoves it down somebody's mouth.
I mean, I guess that's why you have it.
I can't believe the halftime show is canceled, dude. Brantley Gilbert.
He's not even using it.
That was the part that bothers me.
They're there if you need them.
Yeah.
You know, like the laces on a football, sometimes you only use the top two.
That's a good point.
Like, what do you want from the guy? I think he has some good songs. I watched him perform one time, and he did a backflip off the drum set.
What?
I was like, what
Oh,
is-
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, but that was the most confusing thing I thought he did. The brass knuckles made sense. Everything made sense. And when he did the backflip,
This
I was
isn't
like,
Cirque du Soleil.
it's like in boots, this guy. I'm thinking like some farmers or some badasses that listen to him just going like, that boy just do it. He just did he just did a backflip in some ish kickers. Did you see that? I mean, are we singing still or what's going on? This ain't no Cirque du Soleil show. I feel pretty good about that. That was the only thing that was out of character for me. For him singing on Lambeau, I didn't even think about that. Like, getting on Lambeau is a big deal. I wonder if Brantley Gilbert was like, yeah, I'll do the show, but I want to be on Lambeau.
Put me at midfield.
And all of his friends were like, there's no way they'll let you on Lambeau. And then Genesis calls back, and they're like, yep, you're on Lambeau. And he's like, are we going to do the brass knuckle bit or not? So you think that's what killed it, huh?
Yeah.
You don't think it was the black and white terrible music videos that they made?
That didn't help. That was the lead up. And then all the way up until Brantley, it was like, okay, we get it. It's not going to be great. But then Brantley came on. All right, get rid of it.
Rest in
Pull
peace,
it.
the Genesis halftime show. Had a great run.
Yeah.
Hey. Moment of silence for the Genesis halftime show.
Diggs.
I think the Genesis halftime show deserved a little bit more.
Tony.
I don't know what it is. I don't know why.
Tony.
Adam and Foxy, Aviva Lazito also here. And Todd McComas is on the phones, 1-833-622-3331. Our phones have been very much hit or miss lately. Very much hit or miss. I mean, some days we can take calls. Sometimes we can hear the callers. Sometimes they can't hear us. And sometimes we can't take calls at all. What an interesting experience for Todd McComas.
They weren't working on Tuesday, and I was told the reason was there was a blizzard in Denver. So snow, evidently, the nemesis.
Big time problem for our phones.
So we need plows.
We're on winter. So
Good thing it never snows in Denver.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, because it's probably going to just clear right up there.
Yeah, maybe we move that to San Diego. That big switch. Right
Jared. Somebody asked Jared in Green Bay how he's doing.
Jared in Green Bay, how you doing, pal? Jared,
Jared, you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jared,
how are you guys doing?
Jared, life's good. What do you want to talk about? I don't know if this is going to how
All
long
right.
this is going to work for. It's snowing in Denver currently.
So I see it becoming a 49ers versus Packers NFC Championship game. And first question, kind of, who do you see winning that? As I'm in Green Bay, I kind of see the Packers beating the 49ers after seeing them play last night. And then does anyone stand a chance against the Colts in the Super Bowl?
Jared scratched me right where I am. She knows it. Thanks for calling in, Jared. Those butter burgers at that one place near the stadium are incredible. I hope you go check those out. Shout out to you. The Saints, I mean, you still got to talk about the Saints now. I mean, back-to-back years, heartbreaking losses with terrible things. Drew Brees is back, and he's going to be fresh. He's not going to have that noodle arm at the end of the season. You got to assume the Saints are going to be in there for discussion. And Seattle Seahawks, everybody says they have to talk about them. And what if Dak Prescott with $40 million on his mind gets hot? I like the San Francisco 49ers yet, but we have not learned enough about this team yet. Not learned enough. Not saying they're not good, but I think in the next couple of weeks we're going to learn a lot. I do believe we've learned a lot about the Green Bay Packers, and that is the fact that Aaron Rodgers is happy, that defense is moving, and LaFleur seems to be drawing up plays that Aaron Rodgers is loving and playing with. I think that Packers team is going to be tough to stop for anybody as long as they can show up in those big games. The difference between the NFL and everybody else, everybody knows this, you don't get a best of seven. So it's not like the best team's going to win over the best of seven. It's not like, it's any given Sunday or Saturday. So if the Packers can show up, I think they're the team that's going to take on the Colts in the Super Bowl. And every time I say that, I just literally in my brain, I just have Tom Brady and Belichick looking right over my shoulder while I'm saying it. Like, what was that, dude? I think the Colts are going to be in there, though. And I like the Packers a lot, man. And for us, by the way, for this show, for business, good for business if it's Packers Colts. Just so I don't want to try to talk that into existence. But, I mean, I'm probably going to. And until I'm proven otherwise, I'm rolling with it. Nobody outside of Indianapolis has any clue about the Colts. Nobody. That's why on ESPN, when I bring it up, everybody, like, laughs at me. I'm like, listen, I understand that you guys think I'm a funny guy sometimes. This is not a funny statement. This is real. This is exactly how I feel. I think the Colts team is very, very good in the AFC, and I like the Packers a lot.
You know what else is good for business? I heard last night, first time in like 30 years, that those big teams, 49ers, Packers, Cowboys, all leading their divisions at the same time.
That's good for the NFL. Ratings are up, I'd assume.
6%.
Look at you with numbers.
I saw it yesterday.
What, retaining, though?
Yeah.
I mean, in the middle of wedding planning or being able to retain just that number out of nowhere is good.
6%.
Ratings are
checks
up.
out.
Checks out?
Yeah, it checks out.
Thanks, Zeke. Have you seen it both ways?
I've seen it both ways.
Zeke 316 says.
I've seen it both ways, Pat.
What?
What?
We got to get to a break. 11:16 here on November 1st. And it's getting to a point where things are beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ty is losing feeling in his face on flights. We're sleeping for a combined like 4 or 5 hours a night. The body has been put on autopilot. But the holidays are right around the corner.
That's true.
Oof.
And now that we live in a world where you post your entire life onto the internet to make sure everybody can see what you're up to, you shouldn't be judged for that at all. But what you should do is look your best.
Oh.
Let's talk about those holiday pictures. I know it's crazy early to talk about the holidays, but trust me, you don't want to go through another holiday season taking closed-mouth photos while everyone else is grinning ear to ear. This is the year that changed. When you look back 10 years from now, you're going to say, ooh, 2019, that holiday season, that was my first real time getting a chance to smile with confidence. Because you made a vital decision that not only is faster than the older technology, not only is it cheaper than the older technology, not only is it much less hassle than the older technology, but it's something that makes your chiclets look better.
It's the best.
Candid's aligners can help straighten your teeth faster than traditional wire braces. Treatment takes just 6 months on the average. An experienced orthodontist who is licensed in your state creates a custom treatment plan. Then they show you a 3D preview so you can see how your teeth will look after you're done. You'll have a goal. You know what you're in for the next 6 months. Candid's aligners are comfortable, removable, and completely invisible. Candid ships your aligners directly to you, so there's no hassle of going to an orthodontist office, and Candid costs 65% less than the old-ass wire braces. And with each aligner purchase, Candid is helping change the world. They donate $25 to Smile Train, who brings safe, 100% free cleft lip and palate treatment to children around the world. Get your photo-ready smile by the holidays. Go to candidco.com/Pat and use code PAT to get $75 off. Whoa. That's candidco.com/Pat. Code PAT for $75 off. candidco.com/PAT. Code PAT, $75 off. Get a better looking smile. Ed Reed's around the corner. Adnan Vert's around the corner. We're going to wrap up this Friday and send you in the weekend in beautiful fashion. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. It is November 1st. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Hey, Don, how long have we been back? Oh, we had no idea. We're having a typo in the number trying to call Ed Reed to get a Hall of Famer on here. Chit-chat with him about the NFL, the state of the NFL. Excited to be back here on this Friday. We got about 35 minutes left before we launch you into an incredible weekend. 11:25 here on this November 1st, 2019. In the first hour, we get a chance to talk to Michael Lombardi, a guy who's on the VSiN network, which is a gambling network basically out of Vegas. He lives in Atlantic City, former GM, was in the coaching side of things as well. A guy who knows the game in and out. He said his favorites this weekend. He's been hot with us, by the way. He called the Eagles. He's got a couple wrong, obviously, but he's been hot with us. He says that the Jags, Dallas, and Packers and Colts are his bets this weekend. I'm excited to see if those work out. Joining us now, we apologize for the delay. We had the wrong number to call you, sir. He has the greatest Hall of Fame bust in the history of Hall of Fame busts in any sport. He's a living legend, a man who changed the game whenever he played it. From the U, Baltimore Raven legend, ladies and gentlemen, Ed Reed.
What's up, Pat?
Hey, E.D. Reed, boy, the best safety you ever seen, boy. Sorry we were a little bit late. How are you, boss man?
I'm good, man. How's it going?
Good. I'm excited to hear about your incredible work you're doing with Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and the Mission Tiger program, where you're helping save middle school sports. You'll be in Baltimore surprising local school kids with a big donation to redo a field, create and expand new teams, provide equipment and jerseys and more. I got a chance to do something like this in Indianapolis, and whenever you do something like this, not only are you providing equipment and things like that, you're providing hope and opportunity to people that need it, and I think it's an incredible thing you're doing, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Pat, man. I appreciate it, man. We're actually here right now at the school. We already had the pep rally at Ujima Academy in Baltimore. And, yeah, man, it's for the renovations of the basketball court, the basketball gym, and the baseball field, and flag football, man. So it's going to be awesome, man. These kids were excited. It was good to be around them. You know, just hanging out, you know, and hanging out with Tony the Tiger, man. You know, that's a Hall of Famer in itself, right there, hanging out with Tony the Tiger. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the best slogans of all time. You are a GOAT, so it's nice to hear you're doing GOAT things off the field in Baltimore, living legend, in the NFL, living legend. But at the U, that video of you motivating your team is still used to this day to motivate and inspire folks. Is that the type of player you were everywhere you were, or is that just a situation where you felt like you needed to be the guy to step up and talk? Were you a vocal player?
Yeah, I mean, I was like that everywhere. I never held my tongue, you know, when it came to helping guys out, you know, and giving them advice, you know, just having an impact on them.
That,
you know, you never know what somebody's going through, Pat, man. You know that from just playing, and then you know, you just be around so many guys that really go through the same things, you know. So,
oh, jeez, we lost him.
I love that speech.
Yeah, it's one of the best. He's like, I'm hurt.
I'm hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
I'm happy he wasn't on the phone. Yeah. I'm happy he wasn't on the phone. But I think you, by the way, I mean, I feel like whenever musicians have an entire crowd sing their songs, like they probably feel respected and appreciated. The fact that you were able to just completely.
I mean, I've watched it a thousand times.
Great spin.
By the way, whenever the phone cut out right there, we had a super white over here just go through the entire speech. I mean, he knows it word for word. That's the amount of.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that's the effect you had on somebody that wasn't even in the locker room. And you're when you got cut off.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's real. The ability to affect people.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, truly, Pat, man. That's what we're talking about. I mean, that's what we're doing here with the Mission Tiger. You know, is trying to create that impact that change lives, man, that affect people in a good way, you know, especially these kids. That's what it's about. You know, Tony the Tiger has impacted kids all across this country for many years, man. And up to date, you know, this program, Mission Tiger, has affected over 160,000 people, you know, so that's awesome in itself, man. I'm glad to be a part of such a great organization. And, initiative.
Well, they picked the right guy because you impact people's lives in a positive way in the locker room and teammates and in the community. For me, though, whenever we're playing the Baltimore Ravens, you lined up at end to rush a punt, and I literally remember before the game or before the punt looking at you and just going, "Why? Why are you out here right now?" You were a guy that would play special teams. You played defense. You would do anything they would ask you. That's why you're a Hall of Famer, living legend. The game doesn't have a lot like you anymore. Do you think the game is changing and players are changing, or do you think there's guys that are going to be dogs like you going into the future?
I don't know. I mean, guys tend to glamour certain positions, man. I was a special teams guy. I know what it took to win. Every play matters. You're never too big to play special teams, man. I took pride in that. That's where it all started at back in high school when I was in the starting safety or quarterback. I was playing special teams.
There's a video of you just absolutely decapitating a guy. Numerous videos, man. Numerous videos of that. It was against the Colts. I was not there.
Yeah, it's one guy from the Colts.
Yeah, I was not there. And
I think they're giving you one more question here, Pat, because we ran behind and I got to get to another interview, man. So if you got something else for me.
Well, how do you feel about the Ravens? You think they're going to be good? What have you seen from Lamar Jackson that makes you feel great about this?
They are good, man, and I love what I see from Lamar Jackson. I've done a bunch of interviews about Lamar. People asking me what I think. It's simple, man. He's a running quarterback. The great quarterbacks don't take hits, and I hope he don't take no crazy hits, man, that affect his throwing, like it's affecting Cam. I'm looking forward to him to be a smart quarterback like a Russell Wilson, Donovan McNabb, but, not trying to take away from his talent at all, man. Just him running on the football field. I like that. But, I'm definitely taking the Ravens. I don't think I ever picked the Patriots to win a game. but they're good. They're a great team. I know this is going to be a very tough game for both opponents. So it's going to be a battle. This is not the playoffs. This is a game that's a playoff atmosphere, and both teams going to learn a lot from it.
All right. Well, I appreciate you so much for your time. Tell your people to send the right number next time. That's on us. We're sorry we couldn't get you. You're the absolute legend. You're the GOAT.
No doubt, Pat. I'll make sure I tell them that.
Hey, man, you're doing good things off the field. It's awesome to hear because you are one of the game's greatest of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, Ed Reed. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Pat, man. And thank you, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's not on us. I mean, what are we supposed to do right there?
It might have been on our bookers sending me the wrong number.
Oh, boy. Somebody should – oh, we can't. He's on another interview. I was about to say call him back. That could have been on us. He's a legend, though. In that video of him just decapitating a guy, it's against the Colts. And every time I see it, I'm always just like, whoa, like that could have been me. That could have been me. I very much was in that trail position where Ed Reed came off a block. Good work there with Frosted Flakes. I didn't know they did that much off the bowl, out of the bowl.
Tony's big.
Tony, very big.
He helps a lot of people out.
160,000 to be honest.
Yeah.
Exact.
I love the cereal.
Off the bowl.
Out of the bowl, I guess. Yeah. Hey, it's good to hear the Frosted Flakes is doing good out of the bowls. Let's get to a break, man. 11:33. We'll wrap up this hour. We got Canelo Alvarez is fighting on an app, the DAZN app, this weekend. Massive name in the boxing world, from what I've been told. We'll talk to Adnan Verk about that. Excited about it. Take a couple phone calls on the other side. We got Akash from Vancouver, Ryan, Minnesota, Dan in Delaware. Rather diverse group of humans calling in. Minnesota, Delaware, and Canada.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Why are people listening? Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It's 11:39 here on this November 1st, 2019. And it is time for the best segment in the history of radio, a segment that people look forward to. And today, this segment has a rather large announcement in of itself.
People are saying.
Yes, they are. Ty Schmidt, what are people saying?
Well, first, people are saying that after many weeks of anticipation, people are saying the best segment on radio is finally sponsored.
Wow!
And brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code AMERICA.
By the way, we're not a segment show. We're just a where we end up at show.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, even when we're at Barstool, they're like, you need to have segments because we can get those sponsored for you. I'm like, well, segments kind of hacky. It feels like everybody does segments. We only have had one segment on the show ever, and it's people are saying. And you're saying it's finally sponsored. We've only done it like 4 times.
Well, my contention was that it wasn't sponsored from the get-go, from day one. Because we knew we had lightning in a bottle with this thing, you know? I mean, we knew.
Yeah, the ability to just say things that are potentially true, but to just pawn it off on other people.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And look, Manscaped, I'll say this. That lawnmower that they have, hey, go ahead and manscape yourself with one of those and you'll never go back. First time I used it, I fornicated around and shaved my whole lower body just because of how smooth it was. Nick-free technology.
Yes.
It's wild.
No fear of cutting your balls while manscaping yourself. That's a big-time evolution change in the manscaping world. Best thing since sliced bread, they say.
Absolutely.
By the way, why do people say best thing since sliced bread? I can name off about 10,000 other things that are probably much better inventions that have been around a long time that are better than sliced
The
bread.
Quakers started it, and at that time it was pretty cool.
Very old saying. It's very dated.
Oh,
Right. They don't even have electricity, so that's probably why.
they still exist, by the way. Quakers still
Oh, yeah.
exist, right? The Amish Quakers?
Central PA, huge.
A lot of Amish. Over there in, Tim and Sally my parents used to take trips out to the Amish community to stay in the bed and breakfast. They said they like getting away.
Lancaster,
there it is. Yeah, Lancaster, and then there's another one, Intercourse. Intercourse, Pennsylvania, big time with the Amish.
Oh.
And if you intercourse with an Amish person from an outsider, they'll pay you straight cash, and you just got to – it's a cream pie situation. Jeez.
All right.
Ty, people are saying.
People are saying that this weekend's Colts versus Steelers line, which is currently sitting at Colts -1, is the biggest layup in the history of Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think it is too. And after hearing Michael Lombardi, who's been very spot on with his bets, say he agrees with me, I honestly don't understand this. As somebody who's from Pittsburgh and has been following the Steelers and the Colts this year, this line is coming from a place that's trying to take advantage of Steelers fans, I think, that have a little bit of momentum now that Mason Rudolph's played, and they just see the Denver Broncos box score, and they're like, oh, I think we can get Steelers fans, which is one of the biggest fan bases on earth. You go to any city, there's a Pittsburgh Steeler bar in it. That's like almost, I think that's a factual statement. There's a Pittsburgh Steeler bar in almost every single city across the country. It's just the way it goes. And I think Vegas is trying to take advantages of the Yinzers, who have no idea what's going on in Indianapolis. I just think with how that offensive line performed last week, they've had a chance to sit on that for an entire week. Quentin Nelson might rip somebody's head off this week. That literally might happen. They might rush for 4,000 yards. And against the Steelers team that the Colts have struggled with, this is an entirely new team, a very different team, a very new era. And I think this sets up very well. To say that they'll win by 2, I think is very easy to do. I think you get the hammer out and hammer that. And if there's any way that you can maybe give the Steelers more points to up your odds, you do that. I think they're going to win by 10 to 20 here. And I could be completely wrong. I doubt it. But I think I could be completely wrong. But this Colts team is going to be a vengeance game for this team. And it just so happens to be the Steelers that have to sit there and take it with Mason Rudolph and probably no James Conner maybe.
Yeah, Mason scares me. If it was Duck, I'd feel a lot better.
Hey, by the way, Duck Hodges, I'm probably not swinging this hammer as hard because you have no idea what's coming with Duck Hodges.
He could do anything.
Anything.
I do think it'll be a close game strictly because Colts only play close games. So all 7 of their games are decided by 1 score.
I agree, but I think whenever you have to bounce back from a game where you almost lost a game you weren't supposed to lose, like Michael Lombardi said, the best week for a coach is after you win a game, but it's ugly
Mhm.
because you can coach hard and everybody, you see it. Because whenever you win as a team and the coach is like coaching you hard, it's easy to be like, hey, man, we just, like, come on, take it easy. Like, I remember Rich Rodriguez came after us one time when we beat Mississippi State by like 17 or something like that. I forget. Maybe it was that big. It was a 2-score game, though. And he came after us about how we weren't good enough. And we're all like, can we just enjoy this? Like 20 minutes or so? And I think whenever you win one and it's ugly and you don't play well, you're like, okay, yeah, we got very scared there. And this team, a team that revolves around the trenches, when the trenches don't play well, let's assume they're going to get back however they want to. People are saying, sponsored by Manscaped, that the Colts is the biggest layup in Vegas history, potentially.
Yep.
Those people are correct. Let's get. I like that. Got it in there twice. It's sponsored now. Got to do that. We're being joined here momentarily by a guy, Adnan Verk. Some people thought his name was Adam Van Kirk. Some people are saying that.
Some people.
Some people called him Anton in his life. He hosts a show called Change Up. He's also a mastermind in the boxing world. This weekend on the DAZN app, Canelo Alvarez is fighting again. Ladies and gentlemen, Adnan Verk.
Yeah, all right. Listen, you know you've made it not when you were on the Pat McAfee show once, but if you make it twice, I mean, hang on a second. Everyone's got beginner's luck here, Pat, but twice, I feel like I'm a regular now. I want to sit on the couch.
You got a spot on the couch anytime. I will say this: you're a baseball guy. You know a lot about baseball. I was trying to tell you that Nationals team was a team of destiny. You just weren't believing it.
This is why Pat McAfee knows more about baseball than me. You've got to be on Change Up next year. I mean, seriously. My street cred's gone. I'm an idiot.
I love that change-up show. I think you do a good job, and I love the conversation with you. This weekend, I don't know much about what's going on, but I do know that Canelo Alvarez was signed for like $700 million and that he has cinder blocks on his wrist. What should people be expecting in this fight on Saturday on the DAZN app?
Yeah, DAZN signed $365 million deal. So about half of what you've heard, but it is a lot of money, so let me make that clear. But yeah, he's facing Kovalev going up in weight. He's a light heavyweight, so it's always challenging, Pat, whenever a guy goes up in weight because, you're just opening yourself up to a different regimen, a different style of opponent. Kovalev is the underdog, but is capable of pulling off an upset. I'm not a gambler, but I think the latest odds is at 6-1, 7-1. So listen, Canelo for me, Pat, pound for pound is one of the best fighters in the world. It's he and Lomachenko and Bud Crawford are a very short list as far as boxers who are must-see TV. The crowds here in Vegas are always awesome. Mexican fans go crazy for him. I was here for the Cinco de Mayo fight, obviously earlier this year, and Canelo doesn't disappoint, man. Even the most casual boxing fan, you pay $20, you're getting big-time entertainment on a Saturday night to watch one of the sport's best.
Okay, so in a sport that revolves around like being gritty and working hard and training hard, how do you get $365 million and still keep that edge?
It is true. That's a ton of money. And I think that's where pride really comes into play because you're right. If you just say, hey, I got the money. I mean, if I lose, oh, well, I mean, it's guaranteed money, right? But I think what happens is that you say to yourself, no, I got to this point by willing myself to it and by proving I want to be the best. So the money is extraordinary and outstanding, but I want everyone to be able to say, hey, that guy never went down, never just took the money and gloated. He clearly fought all comers. He's beaten Triple G twice. He's also a guy who you see on DAZN and has overcome all those obstacles. But I'm with you. Listen, if you gave me $1 million, I think I'd be mailing it in on change. I mean, it's hard to say that.
Don't be Mr. McIntosh and blank check. $1 million is not enough. It will not go far enough for you. Uncle Sam is also winning in that deal, and you won't be able to make it. But $365 million. Now that is generational wealth right there. It'd be hard. It'd be hard to go in and spar in a training facility. But yeah, punch me in the face, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go home to my yacht. I guess that's an interesting thing. I'm excited to watch it.
You do everything that happens in life, Pat. You always say, okay, what's the worst possible outcome? What's the best possible outcome? In that case, for Canelo, what's the worst possible outcome? I'm shamed and I'm injured. Okay, and then I'm gonna sleep on my bed of money.
Strasburg, they said his contract is up. Garrett Cole, his contract is up. What's going to happen with the two World Series teams going into this offseason? And will the Nationals repeat? Houston's a favorite. What's going to happen with them? They're not going to be able to pay somebody because when they paid Bryce Harper, they couldn't build the team around him. I think they learned from that mistake, and they're going to have to continue to just be a spread the wealth type team. What's going to happen for the future of baseball? And how many people do you estimate care?
I'm going to say it's hundreds of millions as far as caring. I think people more care about what's going to happen with the Nationals and Astros than they care about the U.S. election. That's how much people care right now. I don't care if it's on 10 channels here in the hotel. People care more about baseball. First off, Garrett Cole, Paddock, could you imagine as a former athlete, your contract expires, and rather than let the moment sink in, you put on the hat of your agency. Like that, I still don't believe that happened. I still think that was actually doctored. I'm living in a fantasy world. Garrett Cole did not wear a Scott Boras hat moments after the Astros lose Game 7 of the World Series. But I admire the man because you know what? He's very loyal to his agent, and Boras definitely gets things done.
What did he say?
Garrett
For those
Cole's
that
gone.
don't know
Go
what
ahead.
you're talking about, for those that don't know what you're referring to, what was that?
Sure. He was wearing a Boras Corporation hat right after the game. And when asked about the direction of the Astros, he made it clear he was no longer an employee of the team because at 12:01, he was now a free agent, unemployed. He's like, well, yeah, it's not my team anymore. I'm like, hey, dude, you're in the club. We just
It was an
Can you at least
Astros
wait till you
employee.
shower and then get the Porsche out of here, and then you can be like, hey, it's no longer my team. Those guys are dead to me. But literally, minutes after, Boris hat, not an Astros hat. Hey, man, I'm playing for myself now. So it was kind of shocking to see, but I respect the audacity. Listen, David Price got 7 years, $217 million from the Red Sox. Cole is going to eclipse that. The likely destination is the Angels. He grew up going to Angels games. Artie Moreno, the owner, has said we are not going to get outbid. So Garrett Cole, it's not $365 for Canelo, but I'm going to guess he gets $225 from the Angels over 7 years. And Strasburg, how smart is that guy? Pitches the season of his life. He's the World Series MVP, and he's now able to opt out and leave 4 years, $100 million on the table because he's going to get 7 years, $225 million. Timing is everything, my man.
Now, normally, as somebody that doesn't know much about baseball, I watch a change-up show, so I'm learning a little bit as I go. You do fantastic work on there.
Thanks, man.
Why isn't it just like the Yankees are just going to pay him $400 million? Is that still something that can happen? Like there's no salary cap. You can just pay whatever you want. Strasburg seems like a guy. He's 6'9", 700 pounds, and his arm is just. He seems like a no-miss, must-have type pitcher. What stops the team from just going? Yeah, we'll just give him $700 million.
That was the old Yankees, Pat. In the past, even 5, 6, my old Yankees, 5, 6, 7 years ago, they could say, all right, give us the best guy available. They won their last World Series, 2009, by literally going out and signing the best available players. It was Mark Teixeira and A.J. Burnett, and CeCe Sabathia was great, and they took care of business. Now it's a different Yankee team. You're right, though. There is no salary cap. There's what's called a luxury tax. If you go over the luxury tax, you pay a penalty. But you can spend $300 million if you want to, as long as you're willing to pay a $50 million fine, so to speak, when you go over the luxury tax. But this new Yankee team, they say they don't want to do that. They are no longer the biggest spenders in baseball. It's the Dodgers and the Red Sox and then the Yankees. And even though you're right, everybody's clamoring, saying, hang on, the biggest void this Yankees team had, and I know one of the guys on your show is a huge Yankee fan, is this an ace pitcher? Hang on a second. Tanaka's really good. He's a number 2. Paxton's really good. He's a number 2. Severino's a number 3. Go get an ace. Go get Garrett Cole or Strasburg and don't get outbid. That's the old Yankee way, but Brian Cashman doesn't want to do that. Either it's ownership who's reluctant to give a blank check, or they just feel like we don't want to give $225 million to one guy. We'd rather give it to 2 or 3 guys.
All right. Well, I appreciate that insight. We got a couple minutes left here. Who you betting on? Are you allowed to bet on boxing? Are you allowed to pick who you think's going to win, or is that kind of a weird situation for you?
I don't think you can bet on it publicly, but I'm going to at least say I think Canelo wins. It's interesting. In terms of start time, Pat, I do want to warn everybody. I know everyone's been a little bit worn out from Halloween. I did see a lot of Harley Quinns walking around Vegas last night. I saw more than a few Jokers, which terrified me. I said, I can't wait to get to the MGM Grand here. I'm like, if I get some Joaquin Phoenix wackos walking around here, I'm like, dude, I'm good. I got 4 kids. So, yeah, I think Canelo wins. I'll sit to TKO in 8. I think he beats Kovalev. It will not go the distance. But the fight doesn't start until about midnight Eastern Saturday night. So get the DAZN app. Listen, you got like 5 fights in the undercard. You can watch fights all night long and then watch the main event.
Who decided that? The midnight start time.
I don't know. Apparently the production meeting is still ongoing, but that's what I've been told. 9 o'clock local. If you're in Vegas, it's great. Everybody's warmed up here, man.
That's incredible. Adnan, I can't thank you enough. Where can we watch you at this Saturday before midnight Eastern?
Yeah, so go to DAZN app, DAZN, download the app, like you said, $20, and you can watch all the fights leading up to the main event involving Canelo. And by the way, kudos to you. Hey, fantastic stuff with the anchor, man. I saw Amin's post yesterday, Molly McGrath. Dude, that's terrific. You know, a lot of people try to be funny. They try these costumes, and like 80% of the time you go, that's a whiff. That was tremendous. That was actually a home run.
Hey, we appreciate it. We don't know how many people in the higher-ups loved it, but I'm happy we really went for it. You know what I mean?
You always push the goalpost. That's the key.
Hey, okay. Is that a statement there? Push the goalpost? What does that mean?
No. Maybe I'm screwing up the metaphor, but I think you always want to say push the envelope, I believe, is what I was looking for. Football in.
Adnan, I can't thank you enough.
Pat, it's supposed to be push the envelopes, move the goalpost back. I think that's what I was trying to say, but go ahead.
Well, Adnan, you're incredible. I'm lucky you came on the show again. Thank you for all the incredible insight. And we can't wait for this Canelo fight on Saturday, brother.
Pat, you're the best. Keep it up, man. Appreciate you.
You got to see you later, Adnan. Very good guy. He's a good dude, man.
I like him a lot.
I like him a lot. Don't like baseball, but I'll be around on it. It's been an incredible week. Big shout out to everybody that joined us. So thankful you chose to listen or watch wherever you may be. You're the absolute greatest. For myself, Nick, Diggs, Ty, Zito, Evan, Jason, Todd, and all of us here at the PMI office, you're the absolute greatest. I'll be on game day tomorrow. What am I wearing? What am I doing? Nobody knows, including myself. Have the best weekend of your entire life. This has been the Pat McAfee Show.
Thanks, Don.
Appreciate it, Don.